Welcome back. They say blood is thicker than water, but for Pearl Jenkins, blood had a price tag, $950,000. When this 71-year-old retired nurse discovered her own daughter had stolen her identity to buy a luxury mansion, she was told she was confused. But Pearl wasn't losing her mind. She was losing her home. Stick around because the way she crashes her daughter's elite housewarming party to serve justice is something you have to see to believe. Stay until the end for a shocking revelation, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
The morning sun filtered through the lace curtains of Pearl Jenkins' modest wood frame house on Oak Street in Savannah, Georgia. At 71 years old, Pearl had lived in this house for 43 years. Every mortgage payment made on time, every repair done with her own two hands after her husband Harold passed 8 years ago. The scent of apple pie drifted from her oven. Sunday Bible study started at 2, and Pearl never showed up empty-handed. She hummed "His Eye is on the Sparrow" while checking the golden crust through the oven window, her arthritis making her fingers stiff but not stopping her. On the mantelpiece sat her favorite photograph, Harold in his Sunday best, arm around her waist, both of them grinning like fools on their wedding day in 1975. Next to it, two smaller frames, her babies, Jasmine at 5 years old, gap-toothed and precious. Kevin at 3, clutching his teddy bear. "Lord, where did the time go?" Pearl whispered, touching Jasmine's frame. Her phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. "Happy Sunday, Ma. Love you." Pearl smiled. At least one of her children still checked in regularly. Jasmine had been distant lately, always busy with her real estate career in Atlanta, always rushing off the phone. But Pearl understood. Successful black women didn't get where they were by sitting still. The mailbox clattered outside. Pearl shuffled to the front door, her house slippers scuffing against the hardwood Harold had installed back in '89. The Georgia heat hit her face as she stepped onto the porch, the wind chimes tinkling in the breeze. A gift from Jasmine 10 years ago, back when her daughter still visited. Bills. Always bills. Electric. Water. Property tax. Paid. Medicare supplement. Paid. Pearl prided herself on never owing anybody a dime. Her credit score was 798, a number she'd worked her entire nursing career to maintain. But today there was something different in the stack. A thick manila envelope from Magnolia Federal Bank. Pearl's stomach dropped. She didn't bank with Magnolia Federal. She'd been with Coastal Community Credit Union for 30 years. With trembling fingers, she tore open the envelope. Payment overdue notice mortgage account. Number 4521-8, 876-03. Property address. 1847 Lakeshore Drive, Atlanta, Georgia. 30342. Original loan amount, $947,000. Current payment. Due, $7,890. Days overdue, 37 total amount. Due, $15,780. Please remit payment immediately to avoid further collection action and potential foreclosure proceedings. Pearl read it 3 times. Then 4. Lakeshore Drive, Atlanta. That's where Jasmine lived, where she'd been house hunting for the past 2 years. No, this gotta be a mistake. Some kind of mix-up. But the name on the account was clear as day. Pearl Marie Jenkins. Her social security number, her date of birth. Everything. Pearl's vision blurred. The porch seemed to tilt under her feet. She grabbed the railing, the wood warm under her palm, splinters catching on her skin. Sweet Jesus, what is this? She stumbled back inside, leaving the pie to burn. Pearl's hands shook so badly she could barely dial the number on the letterhead. Magnolia Federal Bank Customer Service, 1-800-555-7823. Thank you for calling Magnolia Federal Bank. Your call is important to us. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. For God's sake, just get me a person, Pearl muttered, jabbing the 0 key repeatedly. Transferring you to a customer service representative. Please hold. Elevator music. 5 minutes of Kenny G that made Pearl want to scream. Finally, Magnolia Federal, this is Trevor speaking. How can I provide you with excellent service today? Yeah, hi. I need to... Look, I got this letter saying I owe y'all almost $1 million, and that ain't right. I never even... I'd be happy to help you with that, ma'am. Can I have your account number? Pearl read the number, her voice cracking, keyboard clicking. Then, okay, I'm showing here. Yes, Mrs. Jenkins. Account opened January 15th, 2023. Conventional mortgage, 30-year fixed at 6.8%. Property is located at— I know where it's located. I didn't buy no house. I didn't sign nothing. Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but I'm showing here that your signature is on file, along with 2 forms of ID verification. What ID? I got my driver's license right here in my purse. It shows here a Georgia driver's license and a utility bill from your current address on Oak Street were submitted at the time of application. Pearl's blood ran cold. Someone had her license, or a copy of it, and her utility bills came to her house, where Jasmine had a spare key, where Jasmine visited last Christmas and stayed in her old room, where Jasmine had access to everything. Ma'am, are you still there? Who was the loan officer on this? I'm not authorized to give out employee information, but if you believe this is identity theft, I can transfer you to our fraud department. Yeah, do that. More hold music. Pearl sank into Harold's old recliner, the leather cracked and worn from years of him watching football. She could almost smell his old spice, could almost hear him saying, "Call the police, Pearl, right now." But how do you call the police on your own daughter? Because who else could it be? The fraud department put her on hold for 20 minutes before telling her she needed to file a police report first, then submit identity theft affidavits in person at a branch location. Pearl hung up and immediately dialed Jasmine, straight to voicemail. "Hey, this is Jazz. I'm probably closing a deal or living my best life. Leave a message and I'll holler back." Beep. "Jasmine, baby, I need you to call me back right now. It's urgent. It's about— Just call me, please." Pearl waited and waited. At 2:15 p.m., she called again. Voicemail. At 3:40 p.m., she texted, "Call me, emergency." At 5:03 p.m., Jasmine finally called back. "Ma, what's going on? You blowing up my phone like somebody died." Pearl could hear background noise, voices, laughter, clinking glasses. A party. Jasmine was at a party while Pearl's world collapsed. "Baby, I need you to tell me something, and I need you to be honest." "Okay, you're scaring me. What's wrong?" Did you take out a loan in my name?" Silence, then, "What? Ma, what are you talking about?" "A mortgage for a house in Atlanta, $947,000. "Ma, are you feeling okay? Did you take your blood pressure medicine today?" "Don't you do that. Don't you gaslight me, Jasmine. I got the letter right here from Magnolia Federal. Ma, listen to me. Listen. You're 71 years old. I love you, but you've been forgetting things lately. Remember when you called me twice in one day asking the same question? Remember when you left the stove on— I did not forget this. It's got my social security number, my address, everything." Okay, calm down. You're getting yourself all worked up. It's probably just a scam letter. You know those are going around, right? They target elderly people. Elderly? Girl, don't you— I'm just saying, Ma, these scammers are good. They make fake letters that look real. Just throw it away. Don't call any numbers on it. That's how they get you. Jasmine Marie Porter, you look me in my eye and tell me you didn't do this. I can't look you in the eye. I'm in Atlanta and you're in Savannah, Ma. You know what I mean. Fine. No, I did not take out a loan in your name. Happy? Now can I get back to my event? I'm at a networking mixer and I just lost a potential client because you're freaking out over junk mail. The line went dead. Pearl stared at her phone. Networking mixer at 5 o'clock on a Sunday. Sure. She opened Facebook, scrolled to Jasmine's page. The most recent post from 30 minutes ago. A photo of Jasmine in a white cocktail dress, holding a champagne flute, standing in front of floor-to-ceiling windows with a lake view. The caption, "Celebrating new beginnings. #blessed, #dream home, #Lake Lanier, #Black excellence." 127 likes, 43 comments. Pearl zoomed in on the photo. On the window reflection behind Jasmine, you could just barely make out house numbers on a mailbox. 1847. Pearl didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table, the unopened letter in front of her, Harold's old reading glasses perched on her nose as she Googled variations of identity theft by family member and daughter stole my identity. The results made her sick. Dozens of articles, hundreds of forum posts. My son ruined my credit. My daughter opened credit cards in my name. I'm 68 and my kids destroyed my retirement. One headline caught her eye. Elder financial abuse. Why family members are the most common perpetrators. At 6:47 a.m., Pearl called Kevin. He answered on the third ring, voice groggy. "Ma, It's not even 7. What's wrong? Kevin, baby, I need to ask you something. Okay. Did Jasmine say anything to you about buying a house? Yeah? She's been talking about it forever. Why? Did she say how she was paying for it? I don't know, Ma. A loan? That's how people buy houses. Kevin yawned. Can we talk about this later? I got prep at the restaurant in an hour. Kevin. She took out a loan in my name. Silence. Then, wait, what? I got a letter yesterday. A mortgage for $947,000. In my name. For a house in Atlanta. The same house Jasmine just posted on Facebook. Ma, that don't make sense. Why would she? I don't know why, Kevin. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Look, maybe it's a mistake. Like, maybe the bank messed up the paperwork or something. You think I didn't think of that? I called the bank. They got my social, my driver's license, everything. Kevin went quiet. Pearl heard him moving around, a door closing. When he spoke again, his voice was lower. Ma, I don't want to get in the middle of this. You're my son. You're already in the middle. Nah, see, that's the problem. Y'all always putting me in the middle. Jasmine does something, you call me. You do something, she calls me. I'm tired of being the referee. This ain't about refereeing, Kevin. This is about your sister committing a crime. Whoa, crime? Ma, let's not jump to, what would you call it? I'd call it complicated. Family stuff is complicated. Family stuff? Kevin, she could go to jail for this. Then maybe you shouldn't call the cops. Pearl's stomach dropped. What did you just say? I'm just saying. Jasmine's got a good life going. She's successful. She's making something of herself. You really want to ruin that? She ruined it herself when she stole my identity. Did she, though? I mean, you gonna leave everything to us when you die anyway, right? So what's the difference if she uses it now versus later? Pearl couldn't breathe. Kevin, baby, tell me you didn't know about this. Silence. Kevin? Ma, I gotta go. My sous chef just got here. Kevin Alexander Jenkins, don't you dare hang up on it. Click. Pearl stared at her phone. Then she threw it across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. Screen cracked, but still functioning. Just like her heart. Pearl's best friend Ruth Price drove down from Charleston that same afternoon. They'd been friends since high school, had survived segregation, the civil rights movement, and the deaths of both their husbands together. If anybody could help Pearl think straight, it was Ruth. Ruth walked in carrying 2 bottles of wine and a box of Popeyes. All right, baby, tell me everything. Pearl did. She showed Ruth the letter, the Facebook post, the text messages from Kevin. Everything. Ruth listened, her jaw getting tighter with every word. When Pearl finished, Ruth drained her wine glass and said, We going to a lawyer. Ruth, I can't afford. Did I ask you about affording? I said we going to a lawyer tomorrow. First thing. But what if I'm wrong? What if there's an explanation? Ruth gave her a look. Pearl, honey, listen to me. That girl posted a picture of herself in front of $1 million house with your name on the mortgage. There ain't no explanation except the one you already know. She's my baby, Ruth. And you her mama. She should have thought about that before she stole your whole identity. Pearl's eyes filled with tears. I keep thinking, where did I go wrong? What did I do to make her think this was okay? Ruth grabbed Pearl's hands. You didn't do nothing wrong. You loved that girl. You sacrificed for her. You paid for her real estate classes when she failed that exam twice. You co-signed her first car. You did everything right. Then why would she do this to me? Because some people take and take and take, and they don't ever think about what they're taking from. That ain't your fault, that's hers. Ruth pulled out her phone and started Googling. Okay, we need somebody who specializes in elder abuse and identity theft. Somebody who won't play. After 20 minutes of research, Ruth found her. Attorney Madison Hawthorne, elder law and financial abuse specialist, fighting for seniors' rights since 2008. She's in Savannah, black woman, got a whole wall of awards. And look, she offers free initial consultations. Pearl looked at the website. Attorney Hawthorne's photo showed a woman in her 50s with natural gray locks and a no-nonsense expression. Free consultation? Yep, we calling her right now. Ruth, it's Sunday evening. Ruth was already dialing. To their surprise, someone answered. Hawthorne Law, this is the answering service. The office is closed, but if this is an emergency, I can page Attorney Hawthorne. Ruth looked at Pearl. Pearl nodded. Yeah, it's an emergency. 15 minutes later, Attorney Madison Hawthorne called back personally. Mrs. Jenkins, this is Madison Hawthorne. I understand you're dealing with potential identity theft by a family member. Pearl explained everything again, her voice shaking. Attorney Hawthorne didn't interrupt once. When Pearl finished, there was a long pause. Then, Mrs. Jenkins, I'm going to be straight with you. What you're describing is textbook elder financial abuse with identity theft. If your daughter did this, and it sounds like she did, she's committed multiple felonies. Felonies? Yes, ma'am. Identity theft in Georgia is a felony. Mortgage fraud is a federal felony. If the amount exceeds $100,000, we're looking at serious prison time. Pearl felt dizzy. How much time? 5 to 10 years. Maybe more if there's evidence of sophistication and planning. Oh, God. Mrs. Jenkins, I know this is hard, but I need you to listen to me very carefully. If you don't act now, if you don't report this and fight back, you could lose everything. Your home, your savings, your retirement, everything you've worked for your entire life. Do you understand? Yes. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.? Pearl looked at Ruth. Ruth nodded firmly. Yes, I'll be there. Good. Bring that letter. Bring any other documents you have. And Mrs. Jenkins, don't contact your daughter. Don't tell her you're getting a lawyer. Don't give her any warning. Can you do that? Yes. I'll see you tomorrow. The line went dead. Pearl sat in silence. Ruth squeezed her hand. You did the right thing. Then why do I feel like I just killed my own child? That night, Ruth stayed over. Pearl couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., she got up and opened her laptop, Harold's old Dell that took 5 minutes to boot up. She logged into Facebook from a browser she never used, creating a fake profile. Mary Johnson, Savannah, Georgia. Generic profile picture stolen from Google Images. Then she searched for Jasmine's profile. It was public. Everything visible. Pearl scrolled through months of posts, luxury cars, designer handbags, expensive restaurants, captions like hard work pays off and building my empire. But one post from 3 weeks ago made Pearl's blood run cold. It was a photo of Jasmine and Kevin at what looked like a fancy steakhouse in Charlotte. Both dressed up, both smiling. Kevin's comment under the photo, "Congrats again, sis. So proud of you. Can't wait to see the new place." Posted January 18th, 2023, 3 days after the mortgage was taken out. Pearl's hands started shaking. She clicked on Kevin's profile, scrolled down. There, January 20th, a photo of Kevin standing in front of a house. Not just any house. The house. 1847 Lakeshore Drive. She recognized the front door from Jasmine's photos. Kevin's caption, "Helped my sis move some furniture today. This place is insane. So happy for you at Jazz the Realtor. You earned this." 34 likes. One comment from Jasmine. "Couldn't have done it without family. Love you, bro." Pearl felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. Kevin knew. Kevin had been to the house. Kevin helped her move in. And then, when Pearl called him panicking about identity theft, he played dumb. He gaslit her. He told her to leave it alone. Both of her children. Both of them. Pearl closed the laptop and walked to the bathroom. She stared at herself in the mirror, a 71-year-old black woman with gray hair, deep wrinkles, and eyes that suddenly looked ancient. Lord, what did I do to deserve this? No answer came. She walked back to bed, lay down next to Ruth, and finally let herself cry. Monday morning, 8:47 a.m., Pearl and Ruth sat in the waiting room of Hawthorne Law offices on Broughton Street. The walls were covered with framed degrees, awards, and photos of Attorney Hawthorne with various civil rights leaders and local politicians. A young black receptionist smiled warmly. "Attorney Hawthorne will see you now, Mrs. Jenkins." Madison Hawthorne's office was all business. Dark wood desk, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, and a large window overlooking downtown Savannah. The attorney herself stood to greet them, mid-50s, gray locks pulled back, wearing a sharp burgundy suit. "Mrs. Jenkins, Ms. Price, please sit." Pearl handed over the envelope from Magnolia Federal Bank. Her hands were still shaking. Madison read the document carefully, her expression darkening with each line. "Okay, this is worse than I thought." Worse how? Pearl asked. Madison pulled out a legal pad and started writing. First off, the amount. $947,000 is significant. That's not some credit card fraud or small personal loan. This is sophisticated financial crime. She looked up at Pearl. Mrs. Jenkins, do you own your home outright? Yes, ma'am. Paid it off in 2009. And it's in your name only? Yes. Harold, my late husband. He passed in 2016. I transferred everything to my name after probate. Madison's jaw tightened. I need to check something. What's your property address? 482 Oak Street, Savannah. Madison turned to her computer and pulled up the Chatham County Property Records database. She typed for a moment, then froze. Oh, hell no. What? What is it? Madison turned the screen toward Pearl and Ruth. Property record, 482 Oak Street, Savannah, Georgia. 31401 owner of record, as of December 8, 2022. VMP Holdings, LLC. Previous owner, Pearl Marie Jenkins deed transfer. Date, December 8, 2022. Document number, 2022-087634. Pearl stared at the screen. I don't understand. I didn't sell my house. No, you didn't. But someone forged a deed transfer making it look like you did. Ruth gasped. They can do that? They can't. But they did. Madison's voice was ice cold. VMP Holdings. Let me guess. Vanessa Michelle Porter? That's your daughter's maiden name? Pearl nodded numbly. Jasmine Michelle Porter before she married Gerald. Right. So here's what happened. Madison pulled out a whiteboard and started drawing a diagram. Your daughter created a shell company, VMP Holdings, LLC. She then forged documents making it look like you sold your house to this company for, I'm guessing, a nominal fee like $1. That gave her legal ownership on paper. But why would she? Because that house is now collateral for the $947,000 loan she took out in your name. If the loan defaults, which it will, since you're not paying it, the bank doesn't just come after the house in Atlanta. They come after this house, too. Your house. Pearl felt the room spinning. So she didn't just steal my identity, she stole my home? She tried to. The good news is we can fight this. The bad news is it's going to be a war. Ruth leaned forward. What do we do? Madison counted on her fingers. 1. We file a police report for identity theft. Today. 2. We file a criminal complaint with the district attorney's office. 3. We file a civil lawsuit for fraud, elder abuse, and to void both the mortgage and the deed transfer. 4. We freeze your credit immediately so she can't do this again. Will she go to jail? Pearl asked quietly. Madison looked her in the eye. If we prove she did this, and from what you've told me we can, then yes. Georgia takes elder financial abuse seriously. Combined with the federal mortgage fraud charges, she's looking at 5 to 15 years minimum. Pearl closed her eyes. And my son? Kevin? If he knowingly participated, if he signed documents, if he helped facilitate the fraud, then he's an accomplice. Conspiracy charges. 2 to 5 years. Pearl's voice was barely a whisper. Both my babies in prison. Mrs. Jenkins. Madison's voice softened. I know this is hard, but you need to understand something. Your children made a choice. They chose to commit crimes. They chose to betray you. This isn't your fault, and saving yourself isn't a betrayal of them. It's survival. Ruth squeezed Pearl's hand. Madison continued. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay, do you want to pursue this? Criminal charges, civil lawsuit, all of it? Because once we start, there's no going back. Your daughter will be arrested. Your son might be too. Your family will never be the same. Pearl looked at Harold's face in the small photo she kept in her wallet, a candid shot from their 40th anniversary. What would you do, baby? She could almost hear his voice. Protect yourself, Pearl. I ain't here to protect you no more. You gotta do it yourself. Pearl looked up at Madison. File everything. I want her prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And your son? Pearl's voice cracked. Him too. Thursday, April 6th, 2:17 p.m. Jasmine was showing a $680,000 condo in Buckhead to a young tech executive when her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Rule number 1 of real estate. Never check your phone during a showing. but then it buzzed again and again. "Excuse me for just 1 second," she said with her professional smile. 7 missed calls from Gerald. 3 texts. Gerald, "Call me now." Gerald, Jasmine. Gerald, "The cops are here." Her stomach dropped. She stepped into the hallway and called him back. "Jazz, where the hell are you?" "I'm at a showing. What's going on?" "There's 2 Chatham County Sheriff's deputies at my office. They're asking for you." "What? Why?" "Something about identity theft and fraud." "Jazz, what the fuck did you do?" The hallway started spinning. I didn't. It's a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? They have a warrant, Jasmine." "A warrant for what?" "For your arrest. They said you need to turn yourself in within 24 hours or they're coming to get you." Jasmine's knees buckled. She grabbed the wall for support. "This is insane. My mother's losing it. She's confused. She doesn't know what she's—" "Your mother filed charges against you. Criminal charges. For stealing her identity and buying our house with a fraudulent loan." "It wasn't fraudulent. I was going to pay her back. I was going to—" "You forged her signature, Jasmine. You stole her social security number. You transferred her house into your fake company. Do you understand how fucked we are?" "We? This is my problem, not yours." "You're my wife. We're married. That makes it my problem too. The bank is already calling me asking about the loan. My managing director just asked me if I'm having legal troubles. Do you know what this could do to my career?" "Your career? Gerald, I might go to jail." "You should have thought about that before you committed fraud." Jasmine's mind raced. Okay, listen. I'll fix this. I'll talk to her. I'll make her understand. She's not answering your calls, Jazz. I already tried. She blocked both of us. Then I'll go down there. I'll drive to Savannah right now, and her lawyer told my office that if you contact her directly, they'll add witness tampering to the charges. Don't you get it? This is real. This isn't going away. You need a lawyer, like yesterday. Jasmine slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor. I can't believe she's doing this to me. Her own daughter. You robbed her, Jasmine. I borrowed. There's a difference. She was going to leave me that money anyway when she died. I just moved up the timeline. Gerald's voice went deadly quiet. Jesus Christ. You actually believe that, don't you? You actually think what you did was okay. I was going to pay her back once the house appreciated. I can't do this. I can't be married to a criminal. Gerald, I'm calling a divorce attorney. You can't be serious. Watch me. The line went dead. Jasmine sat on the floor of the hallway, her $1,500 Louboutins stretched out in front of her, and for the first time in years, she cried. By Friday morning, Jasmine had hired an attorney, Philip Ashford, a slick white lawyer from a big Atlanta firm who specialized in white-collar crime defense. His first advice, control the narrative. So Jasmine did. She opened Facebook and started typing. Jasmine Williams Porter, April 7th, 2023 at 9:43 a.m. I'm writing this with a heavy heart. My mother, who I love more than anything in this world, is suffering from early-onset dementia. Over the past year, I've watched her memory deteriorate. Forgetting conversations, misplacing things, becoming paranoid and confused. Now she's being manipulated by a predatory elder law attorney who's convinced her that I've somehow stolen from her. This lawyer has filled her head with lies, turned her against her own children, and is now pursuing baseless criminal charges against me for crimes I never committed. I'm heartbroken. I'm scared. And I'm asking for your prayers. If you know my mother, Pearl Jenkins, please understand that she is not well. She is being used, and I'm fighting not just for my freedom, but for the chance to get her the help she desperately needs. Please keep our family in your prayers. #FamilyFirst, #ElderAbuse, #PrayForUs. The post got 412 likes in 2 hours. Comments poured in. Praying for you, Jazz. I know you'd never hurt your mama. This is so sad. Elder abuse by lawyers is real. Your mother is so blessed to have a daughter who cares this much. Stay strong. I went through the same thing with my dad. Dementia makes them say crazy things. Hang in there, sis. Jasmine felt a small surge of satisfaction. Let's see Pearl fight back against that. Within hours, the post was shared 89 times. Members of Pearl's church started seeing it. Sunday morning, Pearl walked into Greater Hope Baptist Church like she had for 43 years. But today was different. Sister Patricia Coleman saw her coming and quickly turned away, suddenly very interested in her bulletin. Deacon Marcus Webb gave her a tight, uncomfortable smile and mumbled, "Morning, Sister Pearl," before hurrying past. Even Pastor Jeremiah seemed distant during the announcements. Pearl sat in her usual pew, third row from the front, left side, and felt completely alone. During the meet and greet portion of the service, when everyone shook hands and hugged, people around Pearl gave her awkward half-hugs or just nodded from a distance. After service, Ruth found her in the parking lot, sitting in her car with tears streaming down her face. "Baby, what happened?" "They all saw it. Jasmine's Facebook post. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm the one hurting her." Ruth's jaw clenched. "That manipulative little... She's turning everyone against me. My own church family. People I've known for decades. Pearl, anyone who knows you knows you're not crazy." "Do they, though? 'Cause from where I'm sitting, they're all believing her." Ruth got into the passenger seat and pulled up Facebook on her phone. "Show me the post." Pearl handed over her phone. Ruth read Jasmine's post, her expression getting darker with each line. "Oh, this heifer want to play dirty? All right, two can play that game." "Ruth, what are you—" But Ruth was already typing. Ruth Price shared Jasmine Williams Porter's post, April 9th, 2023 at 1:34 p.m. "I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it clearly. I've known Pearl Jenkins for 53 years. We went to Savannah High together. We marched together in '68. We buried our husbands together. Pearl Jenkins does not have dementia. Her mind is sharp as a tack. She balances her own checkbook, manages her own medications, and just last month, she beat me at Scrabble by 47 points. What she does have is a daughter who committed identity theft and mortgage fraud to the tune of almost $1 million. I've seen the bank documents. I've seen the forged signatures. I've seen the deed transfer that Pearl never signed. So before y'all go running to comfort Jasmine in her crocodile tears, ask yourselves this. If Pearl was so confused and demented, how come she was able to hire a lawyer, file a police report, and gather evidence? People with dementia can't do that. The truth always comes out. And when it does, I hope y'all remember who you stood with." Ruth hit post and looked at Pearl. "There. Now let's see what they have to say." Pearl's phone started buzzing immediately. Text from Sister Patricia. "Ruth, this is inappropriate. You're airing family business in public." Text from Deacon Marcus. "This is between Pearl and her children. We shouldn't be taking sides." Text from someone Pearl didn't recognize. "Your friend is just as delusional as you are. Seek help." Pearl turned off her phone. Tuesday afternoon, Ruth had an idea. "I'm going to call Jasmine." "What?" "Ruth, no. Hear me out. She thinks you're crazy, right? She thinks everyone believes her. So she's going to be cocky. She's going to run her mouth. And I'm going to record every word." Is that legal?" "Georgia's a one-party consent state, baby. As long as I'm part of the conversation, I can record it. It's perfectly legal." Ruth pulled out her phone and opened the voice recorder app. Then she dialed Jasmine's number. It rang 4 times before Jasmine answered. "Hello? Jasmine? It's Ruth. Ruth Price, your mama's friend." A pause. "Oh, hi, Miss Ruth. Listen, baby, I need to talk to you about your mama. Can you spare a few minutes?" Jasmine's voice shifted, became smoother, more careful. "Of course. I'm actually glad you called. I've been so worried about her." "Me too, baby. Me too. That's why I wanted to reach out. I saw your Facebook post and, well, I hate to say it, but I think you might be right." "You do?" "Yeah. Pearl's been different lately. Forgetting things, getting confused. Last week, she asked me the same question 3 times in one conversation." This was a lie. Pearl's memory was perfect, but Jasmine didn't know that. "See? That's what I've been seeing too, but she won't admit it. She won't go to a doctor." I know. It's hard watching someone you love decline like that." "It breaks my heart, Miss Ruth. It really does." Ruth's voice dripped with false sympathy. "So this whole thing with the loan, that's not real, right? She just got confused about some paperwork or something?" Jasmine laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Miss Ruth, I'm going to be real with you because I know you've been around. You understand how the world works." "I'm listening." "My mama worked her whole life, right? 40 years as a nurse. And what does she have to show for it? A little house in Savannah worth maybe $200,000. Meanwhile, Gerald and I are out here in Atlanta, networking with millionaires, and we can't even afford a decent house because the market's insane." So yeah, I used her information to get the loan, but it's not stealing. That money was going to be mine anyway when she passes. I just moved up the timeline, advanced my inheritance. Ruth's hand tightened on the phone. But baby, she didn't give you permission. She wouldn't have. That's the problem. My mama's still living like it's 1975. She don't understand modern economics. She don't understand investment. If I'd asked her, she would have said no, and we'd still be renting some overpriced apartment. So you just did it anyway? I did what I had to do. For my family, for my future. And honestly, if she wasn't losing her mind, she never would have noticed. The plan was to make the payments myself, build equity, and then when she eventually passed, God rest her soul, the house would already be in my name. Everybody wins. Except she did notice. Jasmine's voice hardened. Because that lawyer got in her head. Madison Hawthorne is a vulture. She makes money off tearing families apart. She probably convinced my mama to press charges just so she could rack up billable hours. You think? I know. And now my mama's going to send me to jail because some lawyer whispered in her ear. Over money that was going to be mine anyway. It's stupid. It's wasteful. And it's breaking my heart. Ruth let the silence hang for a moment. Then, well, baby, I appreciate you being honest with me. I'll talk to Pearl. See if I can get her to calm down. Would you? Oh my God, Miss Ruth, that would mean the world to me. Maybe if it comes from you, she'll listen. I'll do my best, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ruth hung up and stopped the recording. She looked at Pearl, who'd been listening on speaker the whole time. Pearl's face was ashen. She really believes she didn't do anything wrong. I know, baby. She thinks she's entitled to my money, to my home, like I'm already dead. Ruth saved the recording and immediately emailed it to Madison Hawthorne. Subject line, confession on tape. You're going to want to hear this. May 15th, 2023. Conference Room B, Ashford & Associates Law Firm, Atlanta. Pearl sat at the long mahogany table, her hands folded in her lap to keep them from shaking. To her left sat attorney Madison Hawthorne, crisp and professional in a navy suit. Across the table sat Jasmine and her lawyer, Philip Ashford, a white man in his 50s with silver hair and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. At the head of the table, a court reporter's fingers hovered over her stenography machine. This was the deposition, a formal questioning under oath for the civil lawsuit. Every word would be recorded. Every lie would be documented. Philip leaned back in his leather chair, all casual confidence. Mrs. Jenkins, thank you for being here today. I know this must be difficult for you. His voice dripped with false sympathy. Madison cut in. Let's skip the pleasantries and get to the questions, counselor. Philip smiled. Of course. Mrs. Jenkins, how old are you? 71. And you live alone? Yes. Do you take any medications? Madison interjected. Relevance? Goes to mental capacity, counselor. If Mrs. Jenkins is on medications that affect memory or cognition, I take blood pressure medication and a vitamin D supplement. That's it. Pearl's voice was steel. My mind is fine. I'm sure it is. But memory can be tricky at our age, can't it? Tell me, do you remember signing the mortgage application for 1847 Lakeshore Drive? I never signed anything. Philip slid a document across the table. This is the loan application with Magnolia Federal Bank. That's your signature at the bottom, isn't it? Pearl looked at it. The signature read Pearl M. Jenkins, but the handwriting was wrong. Too slanted, the loops too big. That's not my signature. Are you certain? Because the bank verified it. The bank was lied to. That is not my handwriting. Philip pulled out another document. And this deed transfer, dated December 8th, 2022, transferring your Oak Street property to VMP Holdings. You're saying you didn't sign this either? No, I did not. Mrs. Jenkins, isn't it possible you signed these documents and simply forgot? You said yourself you take blood pressure medication. That can cause memory issues. Counselor, Madison's voice was sharp as a blade. You're badgering the witness. I'm establishing a pattern of potential memory issues. Pearl slammed her hand on the table. The room went silent. Let me tell you something about my memory, Mr. Ashford. I remember the day Jasmine was born. March 12th, 1981, 3:47 a.m., 7 pounds, 4 ounces. I remember her first word was Mama. I remember teaching her to ride a bike on Oak Street when she was 6. I remember paying for her real estate license exam prep course twice because she failed the first time. I remember co-signing her first car loan when no bank would touch her because her credit was trash. Jasmine flinched. Pearl continued, her voice rising. I remember every sacrifice I made for that girl. So don't you dare sit there in your fancy suit and tell me I forgot signing away my house and my good name. I didn't forget nothing. She stole it. Philip cleared his throat. Mrs. Jenkins, please. And another thing, Pearl pointed at Jasmine. She's sitting there playing victim, but I got her on tape admitting what she did. Tell him about the phone call, baby. Tell him how you told Miss Ruth that you moved up your inheritance and that I wouldn't have noticed if I wasn't losing my mind. Tell him. Jasmine's face went pale. Philip's jaw tightened. I'd like a 5-minute recess. Denied, Madison said smoothly. You wanted this deposition, counselor. Let's finish it. Philip tried a different approach. Mrs. Jenkins, you and your daughter had a good relationship before all this, correct? I thought we did. You loved her. You wanted the best for her. Of course I did. I still do. Then why are you trying to send her to prison? The question hung in the air like poison. Pearl's eyes filled with tears, but her voice didn't waver. I'm not trying to send her anywhere. She sent herself by committing crimes against me. I'm just refusing to be her doormat. Philip leaned forward. But surely, as her mother, you could show some mercy. Drop the charges. Work something out privately. After all, family is family. Pearl looked directly at Jasmine for the first time since the deposition started. You want to know what kind of mother I am? I'm the kind who worked double shifts for 20 years so my children wouldn't know hunger. I'm the kind who drove to Charlotte at midnight when Kevin's restaurant job fired him, brought him home, fed him, and helped him find a new one. I'm the kind who paid for Jasmine's wedding when her daddy died 6 months before and couldn't walk her down the aisle. Tears streamed down Pearl's face now, but she didn't stop. I'm the kind of mother who would have given her everything if she'd just asked. If she'd just treated me like a human being instead of a bank account with a pulse. So you ask me why I'm prosecuting her? Because she didn't just steal my money. She stole my dignity. And I will not let anyone, not even my own child, take that from me and get away with it. Jasmine broke. Mama, please. We're done here. Pearl stood up. Miss Hawthorne, I'm ready to go. Madison gathered her files. The recording will be submitted to the court by end of business today. As they left, Pearl heard Jasmine sobbing behind her. She didn't look back. 1 week later, Madison called Pearl with news. We've got a break. A big one. What kind of break? A woman named Lorraine Jackson. She's an internal auditor at Magnolia Federal Bank. She found irregularities in your daughter's loan file and about a dozen others. Turns out the loan officer, Brandon Whitfield, was running a whole fraud operation. Pearl's heart raced. What does that mean? It means your daughter wasn't a desperate mother making a bad decision. She was part of an organized fraud ring. Brandon was creating fake loans for people willing to pay him kickbacks. Jasmine paid him $15,000 cash to process your loan without proper verification. So she planned this. With him. Yes, and it gets better. Lorraine found emails between them discussing optimizing credit scores and backdating documents. The FBI is now involved. This is federal wire fraud, Pearl. 5 to 10 years minimum if convicted. Pearl sat down heavily. My baby's going to federal prison. Most likely, yes. Brandon's already cut a deal. He's testifying against everyone he worked with, including Jasmine, in exchange for a reduced sentence. And Kevin? Where does he fit in? Madison paused. We're still digging, but there's evidence he was more involved than just moving furniture. Saturday, June 3, 2023, 6:47 p.m. 1847, Lakeshore Drive was lit up like a palace. Luxury cars lined the circular driveway. Mercedes, BMWs, a Porsche. Music and laughter floated through the open windows. Jasmine had planned this party for weeks. A housewarming to show off her success to Atlanta's black elite. Real estate agents, investment bankers, lawyers, the ones who didn't know she was being prosecuted, and social media influencers. Everyone who was anyone. She wore a white Tadashi shoji dress and Louboutin heels. Gerald had refused to come. He'd already filed for divorce, but Jasmine smiled through it. Kevin was there, playing the supportive brother, working the outdoor kitchen and grilling for guests. At 7:30 p.m., the music suddenly cut out. Everyone turned to look at the front door. Pearl Jenkins walked in, but she wasn't alone. Behind her, Attorney Madison Hawthorne, Ruth Price, and 2 U.S. Marshals in full uniform, badges gleaming. The room went dead silent. Jasmine froze, champagne glass halfway to her lips. "Mama, what are you—" Pearl's voice was calm but carried through the entire room. "I'm sorry to interrupt such a lovely party, but I believe there's been a misunderstanding about who actually owns this house." A guest whispered, "Is that her mother?" Madison stepped forward, all business. "Good evening, everyone. I'm attorney Madison Hawthorne, and my client, Mrs. Pearl Jenkins, is the unwitting victim of mortgage fraud. This property was purchased using a loan taken out in her name without her knowledge or consent." Jasmine's face flushed red. "This is insane. Everyone, please don't listen to her. My mother is ill." "I'm not ill, Jasmine." Pearl's voice cut through. "I'm tired. I'm tired of you lying. I'm tired of you playing victim. I'm tired of you stealing from me and then crying about how hard your life is." Kevin appeared from the back patio. "Ma, you need to leave. Right now." "Kevin, baby, don't." Pearl's voice cracked. "Don't make this worse for yourself." "Make it worse? You're making it worse. You're embarrassing her in front of everyone." One of the marshals stepped forward, hand on his hip. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step back." Madison pulled documents from her briefcase. "This is a federal indictment filed this morning against Jasmine Michelle Williams Porter and Brandon Whitfield for wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy, and elder financial abuse." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The second marshal moved toward Jasmine. "Mrs. Jasmine Porter?" Jasmine backed away. No, this isn't happening." "Ma'am, I need you to turn around and place your hands behind your back." "Mama!" Jasmine's voice was pure panic. "Mama, please, tell them it's a mistake. Tell them." Pearl looked at her daughter, really looked at her, saw the little girl who used to climb into bed during thunderstorms, saw the teenager who'd gotten her first job and bought Pearl flowers with her first paycheck, saw all the potential that had somehow twisted into this. "I loved you more than my own life, Jasmine. I would have given you this house willingly if you'd just asked, if you'd just waited. But you couldn't even give me that dignity." The marshal brought out handcuffs. Jasmine dropped to her knees, sobbing. "Mommy, please, I'm sorry. I'll fix it. I'll pay you back." Pearl's voice broke. "I forgive you, baby, but I won't save you." The marshal cuffed Jasmine's wrists. Guests were already leaving, pulling out their phones, recording. This would be all over social media by midnight. Then Kevin did something that shocked everyone. "Wait." The marshals paused. Kevin walked to the center of the room, hands shaking. "I need to say something." Madison looked at Pearl. Pearl nodded. Kevin's voice was barely above a whisper. I knew from the beginning." The room was silent. "Jasmine asked me to be a witness on the loan documents. She told me Mama had agreed to co-sign but was too busy to come to the bank. She said Mama wanted her to have this house. And I believed her. Or I wanted to believe her. Because she promised me $50,000 to help open my own restaurant." Pearl's hand flew to her mouth. "I signed the papers. I vouched for the signature even though I knew it wasn't Mama's handwriting. I knew. And when Mama called me freaking out about the loan, I told her she was confused. I gaslit her. I lied to her face." Tears ran down Kevin's face. "I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry." The first marshal spoke into his radio. "We need another unit. We've got a second subject confession." Kevin held out his wrists. "I deserve to go too." Pearl couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Both her children, both of them in handcuffs. Ruth wrapped an arm around Pearl as they led Jasmine and Kevin out. The remaining guests scattered like roaches when the lights come on. Within 10 minutes, the house was empty except for Pearl, Ruth, and Madison. Pearl walked through the living room, the house her children had stolen from her, the vaulted ceilings, the designer furniture, the view of Lake Lanier through floor-to-ceiling windows. It was beautiful, and she hated every inch of it. August 22nd, 2023. Federal Courthouse, Atlanta. The trial lasted 3 days. Brandon Whitfield testified against Jasmine, showing emails where she'd planned the entire fraud. Gerald testified against his soon-to-be ex-wife, providing financial records showing the $15,000 cash withdrawal she'd made the week before the loan was approved. Ruth's recording was played in court. Jasmine's voice admitting she moved up her inheritance echoed through the courtroom. Kevin pleaded guilty to conspiracy and took a deal. Jasmine fought to the end, insisting she'd meant to pay everything back, that it wasn't really fraud, that her mother was being vindictive. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Jasmine Williams Porter, 7 years federal prison plus $947,000 restitution plus 3 years supervised release. Kevin Jenkins, 2 years federal prison plus 2 years supervised release. Brandon Whitfield, 4 years, reduced for cooperation. When the judge read Jasmine's sentence, she turned to look at Pearl one last time. "Mama," she mouthed. "I'm sorry." Pearl looked away. 6 months later, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Pearl sold the Oak Street house for $285,000, bought a small condo on the beach for $195,000, lived off her pension and the remaining savings. The house on Lakeshore Drive was sold by the bank in foreclosure. Pearl never saw it again. She didn't go to visit Jasmine in FCY, Coleman, Florida. Didn't answer the letters Kevin sent from FCI Butner in North Carolina. She'd written one letter back to each of them. "I forgive you both, but I need to heal. Maybe someday we can talk, but not today, not yet, maybe not ever. Take care of yourselves." Mama Ruth visited once a month, always bringing wine and Popeyes. Pearl joined an elder rights advocacy group, telling her story at community centers and senior living facilities, warning other elderly folks about financial abuse by family members. She became someone's cautionary tale, but she also became someone's inspiration. On her 72nd birthday, Pearl walked along the beach at sunset, waves lapping at her feet. Ruth walked beside her. Any regrets? Pearl thought for a long moment. Every single day, but not about what I did, about how it came to that. "You did the right thing." "Did I? My babies are in prison, Ruth." "Prison. They put themselves there, Pearl. You just refuse to go down with them." Pearl pulled out an old photo from her pocket. Jasmine and Kevin as kids, gap-toothed and grinning, arms around each other. She looked at it for a long time. Then she folded it carefully and put it back in her pocket. "You think they'll ever forgive me?" Pearl asked quietly. "Maybe, but the real question is, have you forgiven you?" Pearl didn't answer. They walked in silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Jasmine Williams Porter is currently serving year 1 of her sentence at FCY, Coleman, Florida. Kevin Jenkins is currently serving year 1 of his sentence at FCI, Butner, North Carolina. Pearl Jenkins lives in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and is a volunteer speaker for the Elder Abuse Prevention Network. She has not responded to letters from her children. Brandon Whitfield is serving his sentence at FCY, Jessup, Georgia. Gerald Porter remarried in 2024. The house at 1847 Lakeshore Drive was sold to a family from California for $825,000. Pearl's house on Oak Street is now owned by a young couple with twin daughters. Pearl says she drives by sometimes, just to remember.
Welcome back. They say blood is thicker than water, but for Pearl Jenkins, blood had a price tag, $950,000. When this 71-year-old retired nurse discovered her own daughter had stolen her identity to buy a luxury mansion, she was told she was confused. But Pearl wasn't losing her mind. She was losing her home. Stick around because the way she crashes her daughter's elite housewarming party to serve justice is something you have to see to believe. Stay until the end for a shocking revelation, and don't forget to like and subscribe.